this interview, I'm going to introduce myself and the website.
Okay.
And then I want you, please, to introduce yourself in a quick way and what do you do in the band. So, my name is Mayara. I'm from the website called Big Rock and Roll, and we are here from Brazil. It's a pleasure to talk with you about Into Oblivion and about the band.
Yes. Hello, nice to meet you. And hello, big rock and roll. I'm Danny. I'm Dante from Venom, and I play the bagpipes.
And to start, I'm going to ask about Into Oblivion, the new album. So
Yes.
this album sounds classic, but also modern. How did the band balance both styles without losing the Venom identity?
I think obviously with us being now a unit together for 17 years, this lineup, um, we've obviously developed our own sort of sound, which obviously still has that classic Venom sound from many, many moons ago. But yeah, myself and the guitarist Rage, we're a little bit sort of younger than the first original guys, so we bring in our own influences. Which, to be honest with you, my influences, and speaking on behalf of Rage, is older music. My favourite stuff is from the 70s. Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Rainbow, all this sort of thing. And then obviously in the 80s, you've got the Iron Maidens and things. But I like all sorts of styles of music, and so does Rage. So he's got a similar thing to me. We like the bluesy style of things, but obviously Rage is bang into his thrash and his real heavy stuff. And so, yeah, I suppose to retain that classic thing, we've already got like an older steeped history of what we like to listen to and how obviously that's influenced the way we play. But yeah, I suppose that's got a big thing to do with it. Um, but obviously it's always going to sound venomous. It's always going to sound classic because when Cronos opens his mouth on the microphone, it's unmistakably him.
And you were talking about the bands that influenced the band and you, but Venom influenced many generations of extreme metal bands. And talking about this, do you still see that influence in newer bands today?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. That extreme sort of thing did start with bands like Venom, and bands of that ilk. And it's great to see that sort of legacy and that length of time, and you know, making these bands get into that style of music and forming their own bands, and flying the flag and running with it and making their own styles, and how they play. But yeah, definitely, I do think it's still alive and kicking today. The venomous blood is in other people's veins, so to speak.
And talking about the album, because the album took many years to finish. So, was there any moment when the band thought about starting over?
Like starting over, doing it all again. Like,
Yeah,
let's
because many years to create a new album.
8 years.
What are the
Yeah,
challenges?
the challenges I think were uh, the first one was the COVID, the pandemic thing, which was obviously shit for everybody, you know, everybody in the world, not just us three. But really, that obviously had a big impact on the way we usually write songs and record because the three of us can't get together and throw our ideas at each other and the way we always have and we've got our own room, we've got our own recording room and rehearsal place where we get together regularly, every week, whether we're going on tour or doing anything, we always meet up, even if it's just to chat about things, business and things like that. But that's where we go and get our ideas together, and we couldn't do that obviously for a long time. So that changed. The especially Kronos and Rage, they got their like home studios updated at this point for that reason. So they were sort of writing individually and coming up with some really good and quite different ideas. You know, I think being sort of not being with each other had an impact. And then when we got back together, we kind of changing those ideas. And then we ran into a problem further down the road, which was when we were listening back to some of the tracks. I'd actually finished. Usually we always put the drums down first, get them out of the way, and then the guitars and bass, and then the vocals usually is the sort of cherry on top of the cake. But we were listening back to some of the drum tracks with the guitar, and we were like, hang on, there's a problem. And basically it was one of the microphones had like a crackle every so often. It was like and we're like, what is that? So we located the problem, and I had to go and record the whole album again, which was another setback, of course. But I think it also helped the album become what it is, and I think the second time of recording it is much better album. We had more time to spend on the songs. We did change things and make songs longer. Some of the songs we took parts out or whatever, changed some of the riffs slightly. And I think because of that, I think Into Oblivion that we all know now is that second sort of the second coming, if you like, the second wave of it. Yeah, but it did have its challenges, I must admit. But yeah, it was a long time, crikey.
And as a drummer, because now you are saying about the challenges and to record everything again. And as a drummer, which song was the hardest for you to record?
Uh, Unholy Mother, probably the last song, because the original version, because there's three songs on this album that's been sort of chopped down a little bit, some stuff took out to make so it can go onto the vinyl. Nevermore is one, which is track number 3. Unholy Mother, which is the last track, that that had an extended sort of intro, and the end of it had a lot more guitar and bass solos going on. So that was chopped down. So we did, edited, should I say. But the full version of that, Nevermore, and what was the other one? It'll come to me in a moment. But that had an the extended part that got chopped up. That had a classical part, actually. But the last one had so many solos and it was going on and on and on. I don't know. Is it that one that was the last one? The hardest one to record? I don't know. I think they've all been very enjoyable, like, because all the songs are so different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and songs like Metal, Bloody Metal from
Mm,
this new album feel like a celebration of heavy metal itself. So,
yeah.
what is Venom's relationship with today's metal scene?
Well, we like to listen. The guitarist Rage, he's banging to like a lot of more newer bands than I am. Like I said, I'm still sort of stuck 40, 50 years ago with the stuff I listen to. But yeah, I listen to, if something's on, I think there's only two types of music, good and shit, you know, and that good and the shit, you can have any style of music. If you think it sounds good, then it's good. You know what I mean? So don't necessarily have to be metal for me to put my thumbs up to it. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, if something sounds good, I'll like it. You know?
And talking about it, is there one song on Into Oblivion that best represents the current spirit of Venom? Just one song from the album.
One song. As above, so below, I think. That's the song I couldn't remember, and I've just remembered it. The three that were extended. That's another one that had the part in the middle. I would say that one. Yeah.
And right now, it's more a curious question when you are on tour, because after so many years, what still gives you the adrenaline before going on stage?
Just being able to knowing what's coming next, going from a dressing room to walking up some stairs onto a thing and getting behind a drum kit that I still love to do since being a little lad to still doing now. I still always get that buzz and that feeling. Yeah, it's amazing. It's a little bit like a kid on Christmas morning. You know what I mean?
And I have two last questions. Right now, it's that Brazilian fans, they have always had a strong connection with the extreme metal and with the band. So what comes to your mind when you think about Brazil?
Oh, I love the place. I've been many, many times now. Obviously with Venom and with Tony Martin, who I first came over to Brazil with a couple of times. And so, when I think of Brazil, I think of, great concerts, great people, very, very passionate, and yeah, great food, great weather. But no, it's a fantastic place to come to, and especially to get up there and play. And the crowd reaction is always breathtakingly good. Breathtakingly phenomenal, really. The passion is just there from the start and right till the end. So yeah, can't wait
And
to come
to,
back.
yeah, come to Brazil
Yeah,
with this new album will be awesome.
yeah, would love that.
And to finish, it's a question for you to remember about the past days. Do you remember what was the first metal song that you've listened in your life?
The first metal song.
Yeah.
Ooh, Iron Maiden. I couldn't tell you which exact song it was, but I do remember when I was at school, the teacher said, right, next week, this is in music class, I want everybody to bring in a song that means something to them, what they love, and why. So I took in a song called Prisoner by Iron Maiden, and it had like a bit of a speech at the beginning, which was from a TV show in England called The Prisoner. And it was a guy called Patrick McGowan who was the actor, the main actor. He did this speech at the beginning of it, and then Clive Burr, the original Iron Maiden drummer before Nicole McBrain, does this drum beat like, and then the band come in, and I was just like, "Whoa, that sounds great!" For being a young, impressionable, metal rocker sort of drummer. I'd just got my first drum kit just before this, I think, and yeah, so I took that one in. So that one definitely springs to mind. Yeah,
And that's it then. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk with you.
no
Thank
problem
you.
at all. Thank you very much, and
And thank you.
give everyone a big rock and roll my regards, and hopefully we'll be in Sao Paulo soon.
Yeah, we hope this too, please.
Okay, nice speaking to you.
Thank you, Gabriela. Thank you, Pedro, for music.